Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shooting the Shelf here on Just Shelve It. I'm Jesse Arnold, and coming with me here is coming over. I don't know what I'm saying. This fella, Curtis Ackerman, the inevitable, coming to you with episode 9 of season 2 of Shooting the Shelf with the one and only Zombie 13. We got some folks lining up in the chat. Hello, everybody. What we got? Patrick Boyle's out here. Geek Man Masters of the Thunder Nerds. Joe Gonsalves. Nate Strong. Trevor. Steve. Got to meet you last week at ZoloCon in person. Welcome, everyone. Simone, Dorkler, Bill. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you all for joining in. Let's get our guest up here. Give a warm digital round of applause to the one and only Zombie 13. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Excellent. The elusive Zombie 13. we don't get to see you very much. You don't do a lot of these.
Maybe not elusive, more like reclusive.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad we were able to lure you out to the shelf for this chat tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I actually don't get many invites to shows, so when you reached out, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it.
Excellent.
That's awesome. Well, we're gonna go into our shelf selections, which we do first. So we'll throw up some pictures that Jesse and I have picked out, and then we'll kind of comment on those and go from there, and then we'll get into the interview. All right, who we got first, Jesse? You or me?
I think I always start off with you, Curtis.
Yep, this is me. This is from Retrospect Customs, which I believe is Leland. I just thought that he did a really good job on this one. It's, kind of that, I think that's a My Action Figure Customs head. It's, he's got the war paint on the bottom of the mouth. I like that red with the metallic, kind of looks like it's, kind of worn a little bit. That shield, I just thought he did an awesome job with this. It's just really cool and unique.
It's actually
go ahead.
Planetary Dog Customs.
Yeah. Oh, is it a Planetary Dog?
That's a Seba sculpt.
Do you know where those shoulder pads are from?
No, I can't place those.
I think those are off a Camaro.
Oh, really?
Like, no, I'm just saying it looks like he ripped apart a car and
yeah, it's really unique.
I love it.
That's for sure. So I just, when I saw this, I thought it was just really cool. I know that's My Action Figure Custom Shield because I've painted up a couple of those. Those are really cool. Yeah. But
those I just sculpted by GD Lake.
Ah, cool. So yeah, I just thought this was a cool look.
Yeah, the coloring on that red is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
With red and green, it's always hard because so many people see red and green just immediately think Christmas, even though they're complementary colors. But
metallic red's really hard to achieve a really good look too. So props to him for that.
Yeah, I like how it's got a worn type look to it too. It's not like brand new red metal. It's like this has been in battle a couple times.
Very lived in.
Yeah. Awesome job, Leland. This one is from DWF Collection 1769. I was scrolling through and I saw this shot of the new Hasbro Ultimate Captain America. And I just thought that just the framing of that shot with the blurry shield was just really cool. And the dynamic one leg running pose. So I had to throw that one up.
That's really cool. Going on that last one, I did look it up. It says the pauldrons were from Action Figure Fusion 2020.
Okay.
So just FYI. But yeah, I love the look of this one. It's one of those where, it does look like it's coming right at you. So great action shot for sure.
Yeah. And it's got the smaller, broken up pebbles or concrete, whatever there. So it feels a little more in scale, it's nice job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great shot.
This one was one of mine. This is Arthas Zoran. And this is using that dragon, I forget what it's called, dragon something kit from Emil and Steven from the God's Fire for the helmet and the pauldrons. I believe that the...
What's up, Steph?
the torso and I believe the loin piece are both from My Action Figure Customs. I think the shield is from Planetary Dog. It's just kind of the way that he combined all those different parts from different folks, and the paint scheme. I thought it just came out really awesome to create this overall look.
I know where the torso is from.
What's that?
Again, that's another Planetary Dog Toys torso.
It is a Planetary Dog?
Yes. The loin piece is My Action Figure Customs. That one was
Gotcha.
sculpted by Lee J. Robinson.
Gotcha. The shield is Planetary too, right?
I think so. That looks very familiar.
Yeah. So I just, it's one of those where, you got the one armored arm, the one bare arm, and then all these different parts from different vendors. But it comes together to make one cool custom.
It does. I love that there's so many different parts from so many different, 3D printed companies. It comes together so well.
But when you look at it, it looks like they all belong together.
It does. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah. It's just getting that. I mean, it feels like a real character, because when I watch movies and stuff, and it seemed like Lord of the Rings, not specifically Lord of the Rings, but anything like that, where you've got different armies lining up, and all their armor, even though it's designed by the same people in the real world, they all look like they're designed by the same people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they all going to Edna mode? So I like that this feels like it's not like, part together, but it feels cohesive and unique.
Even just like the little on the legs, on the lower legs, where he did that one stripe of red, which brings in the rest of the armor color. Just little touches like that is pretty awesome. So
I love the belt on this one. Do we know where that came from?
That I don't know. I've been wrong a couple times already, but I would guess Kai Labs just from the way that it looks. So
yeah, it looks like actual material, not a print.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't blow it up.
That actually might be a Mezco, because I just got that Mezco, the kit that goes with the Conan, the accessory.
Oh, the Barbarian kit.
Yeah, and it looks like one of those belts from there, so that might be Mezco too.
Pick up one of those myself. Yeah, I love how just even something like that, just adding a belt to something, just amps it up even more. And I love that the Horsemen are doing different styles of belts now instead of just that strip.
Yeah, hashtag belts pack. We need
hashtag belts pack.
Yeah,
spread it around, people.
Yeah.
This is one I saw it on Instagram, but I didn't look it up. I grabbed it when I saw it in the Brood, the Mythic Legions vampire subgroup, from Junior Rivero. I just loved this whited out zombie take on Hadriana with the Delphina / Gwendolyn head. That white, stark white with, again, I didn't blow it up, but there's like blood spatters on the edge of the tabard and everything just look really cool. And just that white, snow white face on the lion helmet just really
and then
stuck out to me.
He went with the white, like all white eyes on it too, and the pale face, and the whole thing is just awesome. I think it's a nice addition to your vampire set. Put that right next to Blood Arm. It looks like it fits right in. Really cool stuff.
Yeah,
love this one.
Very cool. We got some more folks joining in, so I apologize if we're not pulling all of your comments up. Thank you, everybody else, for joining in. We do see you over there. Up next. Yeah.
This guy, new up-and-comer in the community. No, just kidding. This is actually one of Zombie's pieces I saw this week, and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. The front overall look, I wanted to include both pictures on there because the front overall look I think is just awesome. Like the whole thing just comes together, and I always like any kind of snow leopard or snow anything, any kind of Arctic stuff. So I think that's one really cool look, from the front side. But then the back side, looking at just the details on all the print on the fur, just amazing job. So
there's so much detail to the back. It's you look at the front and it's almost just white legs, white arms, but you turn him around and he's got all these, like you said, all the leopard spots and everything.
Yeah.
I actually did, if you remove that additional neck piece and everything, there's it goes all the way up on the other torso, the main torso for it too. So
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's
even the
funny
legs.
yeah. Yeah, a lot of times when I'm working on a custom, like I'll be painting something and I'll think to myself, nobody's ever going to see this, but I'm going to paint it because I will know it's there, you know?
I did sell this one reluctantly, and I've got to make another one because my mom said, okay, I want one. So I've had to start
Oh,
another
nice.
one.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Now those feet are those the feet you designed?
Yeah, those are the ones that I actually went back and revised those a couple of times through my
Okay.
action figure customs, and they're occasionally available there.
Okay.
There's no rhyme or reason when they are; they just kind of are. So it's just one of those things you just have to keep checking back.
Yeah, I've got those on my Cowros and my Purpler. They're
Nice.
really cool.
I have the other ones.
Actually, I need to talk to you, Zombie, about. I got one of those, the helmets for the Purpler.
Oh yeah,
The one from my action figure custom, and I need to know how to paint match that. So I need to I need to hit you up after this, kind of get a paint match for that.
sure.
So,
Paints might be a little hard to find, but I'll answer the best that I can.
that works.
I'll tell you what I use. So
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, I know. I've got a couple in my shopping cart on Wolf King of the new critter feet you've got over there.
yes, yeah, those are really cool too. They fit not only the 1.0 but 2.0 bodies, so they're universal.
You gotta get some stuff on my fuzz monks need some more bare feet.
Oh wow!
This one from John Caulfield. I had to do a double take on this because I just thought, I was like, oh cool, someone made a swamp dial like a shield, and I was like, no, that is a shield with moss growing out of it. Oh, it's just amazing.
That's super cool. It is very realistic looking.
Just like the way it's been eaten away, or the way he filled it in and then like wore away the middle. It's just, I don't know. It makes me so uncomfortable, but at the same time impresses the hell out of me.
Yeah, it looks like it's been sitting on the battlefield, left behind for years.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool when people modify, normal like 4 horseman parts like that. Like it's, don't get me wrong. I work with Wolf King Customs, and I like when people buy 3D parts. I like them myself, but anytime that you can take a 4 horseman part and make it look completely different like this, that's always impressive to me.
Absolutely. So John Caulfield 7, John.Caulfield.7 on Instagram. Amazing work on this bog shield.
This is another up and comer in the community. He's may have heard of him, Jeremy Gerard, I believe is his name. But just another one of these kind of snow Arctic looks. That
is it Gerard or Gerard?
It might be Gerard. I don't know.
Jeremy Gerard.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they pronounce it up there in Maine.
Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy. But yeah, this is LBC at his finest. I think he said he did this one earlier, but he kind of updated it a little bit. Once again, I just love the Arctic look. The fact that he's got it out there with the shot with the some of the snow on the ground and the blurry background. It's just a overall cool look, and I just love that character. I'm not a huge critter fan, but this one, when I saw it, I had to stop and look at it for a while and admire it. So
it's a really cool shot too. We don't get snow down here, and I've got snow characters like that snow leopard I did. I would have loved to have been able to take some shots with a setup like that, but we just don't get the snow down here.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember who it was, but someone in the Cabal somewhere posted today that their wife made like a giant brick snow fort, and he was like asking her to go take his like snow troll and some other stuff out there, but he's like, well, hopefully we get snow again next week and I can go out and do some more. But like, I guess she had like one of those molds to make the bricks or whatever, and I was like, oh man, I've hardly gotten any snow here in Pennsylvania this year.
Yeah.
Up next, I showed this a couple weeks ago from AW Designs, the beginning of this diorama, and here it is completed. And I just felt like I needed to bring it back in for the final.
He made a lot of progress on that in a very short time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love that. The two sets of doors, like the broken, I'm doing the thing with the mouse again, the broken window, the metal like frame or whatever hanging out of the window up on the higher part.
Yeah, the different like statues and stuff, and the, you know, I know it's a little bit harder to see on this picture, but when we showed the unpainted version on that wall, a lot of the bricks, like there's several bricks that are pushed in quite a bit more than others, so it does look like it's, you know, uneven and not like, you know, cookie cutter. Yeah, so good stuff.
Yeah, with the wooden racks and the chains, I was not expecting that's where this was going to go when he initially did it. But it's, yeah, feels like something out of the beginning of Prince of Thieves or something.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a friendly place to be in.
No. And that's it for the shelf selections this week.
Awesome. Good stuff.
So let's bring
LeBron says that window piece is from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Thank you, Eric.
So cool. So, Zombie, how did you get into customizing? Because I know you've been doing this for a long time. You know, been doing it with Mythic Legions, but is that where it started, or were you customizing before Mythic Legions?
Way before.
Yeah,
I started. Before I started, I was one of those kids where I kept everything pristine. I didn't always get what I asked for or what I wanted, so I cherished everything that I had. Like, even if it was stuff that was supposed to be taken outside and played with, I didn't do it. I kept it like everything clean, everything perfect. Fast forward to 1992, I was 12. I had a friend who started taking his GI Joes and making like other characters. He made a Gambit out of one of them, and he did a little bit of painting on it and everything. I said, well, that's kind of cool. You know, I never thought to do something like that. So really it started with GI Joe, just taking the screw out of the back, the old type of the ring, the O-ring, whatever they call it. Mixing up pieces. I didn't really start painting them until a little bit later, because there was always something that, okay, well, I wish this was this color or that was that color. So, and then I moved up to the 5-inch Toy Biz stuff. And then from there, Marvel Legends and into things like, I think I did a couple of Spawn custom things. And then, of course, the Horsemen came out on their own back in 2005. So I jumped on with that. Got extra stuff, did a few customs with some of the Minotaurs. And then Mythic Legions. So I've been doing it for about 31 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So initially off the bat, it was stuff that you wanted to see yourself. It was like our stuff that you wanted in your collection that you were putting together.
A lot of it was like, a lot of it was just, okay, well, what can I make with these parts? You know, what's cool with that? So it wasn't really, I was trying to make any specific, characters at first. It wasn't until maybe really Marvel Legends, like I wanted characters that they didn't make yet, so I started doing some of those things.
Gotcha.
And then that fell out of favor because I figured out, well, if I just wait long enough, they'll make the characters that I'm trying to customize, and if I don't like their version, then I'll alter that and make it the way that I want it.
Cool. So then you get into Mythic Legions, and you know, now you're mostly like making just completely new creations that are not, you know, you're not trying to recreate something. You're trying to, you know, come up something on your own. So what does that process look like, especially in the early days? You know, when you've got these parts available, and you know, do you have an image in your head on what you're trying to create beforehand, or are you just kind of playing around?
The problem that I have in my head is when I do come up with an idea, I see it in its finished form. And a lot of times that stalls me out because I already see it finished. So it may sit for a little while in a work in progress form. A lot of times I, like in the very beginning, the first pieces I did a few different feet. because everybody had the same feet with Mythic Legions. So I said, okay, well, let's change this up a little bit. There were no bare feet, so I did some bare feet for. It was like a very orcish type of design that I did, and I was hand casting all of this stuff myself. This was before 3D printing ever started, so I was kind of on that cutting edge of making extra parts for figures that were already great. So it was more like there's a missing piece here. How can I make that piece to where it brings those figures to another level? And then pretty soon other people were like, hey, I'd love to have those pieces. And that prompted the whole molding and casting thing. And then before I knew it, I wasn't customizing anything anymore. I was spending all my time molding and casting stuff because it just takes so long. The method that I developed wasn't like anything anybody else was doing. I use a brush on liquid latex, and you have to do that layer by layer by layer. And then the resin that I use, I found a resin that you could heat it up just like plastic. So you could literally heat those parts up and just pop them on like you would the parts that we have and know today. But going also to some of the earlier pieces that I did, I sculpted that the mask for Kauros. Because as soon as I saw that tribute figure, I'm like, they're not going to do a mask. I've got to do a mask for this thing. And that prompted the feet. So it was kind of, there's something missing. What can we add to this? But then also like with the snow leopard that you shared today on the show, there's been a handful of others done by other people. I'm certainly not the first to do it. I am not the first to do a bunch of different customs. I take my time and I do them the way that I want to do. But when there's an idea that you just get in your head, it just eats at you until you make it, and then it's a reality. And then you could just take pictures, share it with the rest of the world. And sometimes I sell things, sometimes I don't. I've got customs back here that I personally wanted that I'll probably never sell. But others where okay. Let somebody else have this in their collection. They share the joy.
Well, and you're truly a customizer. Like, there's folks in the community that we would consider to be customizing, and they're really more painters, or they're more this and that. Like you do stuff with, you're cutting parts, you're dremeling, you're casting things, you're using epoxy sculpt. There's all this different stuff that you're including on there. It's not really just like pop and swaps and paints, right?
That's it.
So when you're starting to work on a custom like that, like, how do you determine what is going to be needed in terms of parts, in terms of sculpting, and whatever?
I try to keep it fluid. Like, I already have an idea about what I want to sculpt. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't have to go into another direction, but I just kind of leave it open. Sometimes I let the parts tell me where they want to go, and I'll change some parts up. That snow leopard went through a couple of different changes before I finally settled on that look. And now there's newer parts out, so maybe I'll use different parts on the next one, the one for my mom.
Well, I noticed too, like when you put something out, like even on that snow leopard, typically you'll do more than one look. Like, you'll have several different weapon sets or different things to where, like, you'll have 4 or 5 photos and they'll be a little bit different, little variation. So is that just something to give options to that figure? Or?
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't like options?
Yeah.
Half of the figures that we get from the Horsemen now, they have so many extra parts in them where you can change the way they look to suit your personal preference. Maybe, the person that ended up with the snow leopard doesn't want that big thick neck on it, so there's a full paint job under it. They could take that off, put the head on it, and now they've got a slimmer look for it.
Gotcha. Cool.
So you've been on, you said you've been on with the Legions since the beginning? Were you in on the Kickstarter? Okay.
Oh, yes. I was so nervous during that first Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Kickstarter, I lose sleep when there's a Kickstarter that I am involved in, especially if it's not fully funded yet and it looks like it's stalled. There was a I don't want to say comic shop because it wasn't really comics. They had a lot of toys in it, and they had like the gaming miniatures and some paints and things. I actually went to that place and pitched Mythic Legions to them. I pitched the Kickstarter to them and said, hey, it's going on right now. You've got gaming here. People, know Dungeons and Dragons. This is knights and barbarians, and they've got orcs, and they were like, yeah, okay, who are you? I don't know. I don't think we're gonna do that. And I'm like, you're missing out. I'm telling you, this is gonna be big. And boy, was I right.
Yeah.
So I knew it was gonna happen. It made me so nervous until it was funded. Then I'm like, okay, it's happening. But they just brushed it off like, yeah, okay, you see what we carry, right?
Right.
they just weren't interested.
Well, they could have made a significant investment. They would have made quite a bit of money on there if it, But
I tell everybody that because now there's that place like moved away or whatever, and we have a new shop, and it's actually got the card right here, Omega Level Toys and Comics. This is my go-to place. The guy that runs it's name's Travis. He is super cool, super down to earth. He and I get along really well. So, and he's got a few legions that he's carrying, and we're working on trying to get more down here.
Awesome.
That's cool. So you get in right from the beginning in the Kickstarter, and you're getting into the community before there's a cabal. There's none of this going on. There's we hear constantly the talk about the quote unquote old message boards. Tell us a little bit about that world and what that was like.
The Wild West. It was, oh man, it was a very small community, very tight knit. Of course, Jeremy was there. Nikki was there. All the usual big names everybody's accustomed to hearing about. And there would be, somebody would do something, and of course, everybody would comment, oh, it's great, it's great. And for a long time, I was not a member of Facebook, and people kept coming to the message boards and saying, hey, hardly anybody's here anymore. They're not really, they don't have the capability to fix the message boards. It's kind of dying anyway. So they eventually talked me into going to Facebook. I was told a lot of my pieces that I was casting at the time were showing up on Facebook, and everybody was wondering who's doing these. So I just bit the bullet and finally joined.
Cool. So
go
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so like, tell us what that's like when the cabal finally kicks off and this thing launches.
I thought I was busy on the old message boards when I joined Facebook, and now I'm very technologically stupid. It takes me a little while to learn new systems. It took me a little while to figure out Facebook and Messenger, and I was just getting bombarded with messages. The demand was so high for the casts that I was making. I was, like I said earlier, I was already spending all of my time just making molds and casts, and I wasn't customizing anything. And luckily, the 3D printing stuff started taking off, so I jumped in on that. I don't do anything personally, so I have to make friends who have printers.
So
I remember back in 2005, the message boards were.
Walter says his goal is to make you nuts and scare you off.
No, that's not going to work. You'd have to.
Friend him.
We're already friends. Walt, what are you talking about?
He meant back then.
Yeah. Oh, back then. Oh,
yeah.
Please. I know people crazier than him in my real life now.
Don't tell him that.
Too late. No, back in 2005, I wasn't really like the big message board that I was involved in was the Foosh. Because at that time I was doing a lot of Marvel customs with I keep trying not to mess this up. Marvel Legends.
Mhm.
You get Marvel Legends, Mystic Legends, Mythic Legions. It's too many things that begin with M and L. So a lot of my time, a lot of my online time was spent at the Fwoosh. And they had done an article or two about the Horsemen and their project, Fantastic Exclusive.
Mhm.
And that was the voting process to where the fans got to decide which property they would explore into making on their own, all of their own original creations. And then you vote on the character, and then you vote on things like the size, the articulation, the weapons, the colors, things like that. I remember in 2005, after Hurricane Katrina, being displaced, and then I spent a lot more of just kind of online time and stumbling across that. And I remember doing some of the early voting on Zephyus, the Minotaur,
Mhm.
for the Seventh Kingdom through Four Horsemen. So that's kind of where, like, I started with the Horsemen even before that, when they were doing, their projects and work with the other companies like Marvel and things like that. But whenever they became like on their own, well, not on their own, but they started doing their own thing, I was in it. I was in it, and I was there to stay. I knew I was going to follow as long as they kept putting stuff out. I was going to follow along with it.
Now they did classics for Masters, and they also worked on that DC line. Were you collecting any of that stuff?
I have a handful of some of the things from. I think I only have 2 classics figures.
Gotcha.
I regret missing Drago Man, but at the time, it was really confusing on how to get him and everything. And then so I knew that they did it. I knew they designed him. He's one that I kind of always kind of regretted not getting. But
Yeah,
I have
that
some
whole
of the
Maddie
DC.
collector thing was a little.
It was wonky, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I got into it late, and so by the time I realized that classics was even a thing, then I'm like, okay, so this, like, what do I do now? I pay monthly, and then they just send me figures, but I don't know what they're sending me. Like, it was kind of a weird thing. Like, now that I know about it, I think something like that would be cool. Like, I would, if Four Horsemen came out with something like that today, I would sign up in a heartbeat.
Oh,
But at
yeah.
the time, yeah, it was just like, I don't get it. Like, I'm going to pay them a fee, and then they're going to send me something surprise. And
Yeah, that's a hard thing to commit to when you don't
right.
know what's coming and you got to pay up front and then you got to wait. At least with the Horseman, with the pre-orders, you know what you're getting.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So sounds like, early on as a kid, you were into Joe's. Is there other properties that you were into when you were growing up?
I wasn't really into Joe's. They were easy to take apart. So,
Gotcha.
like, I remember my buddy that got me into it. He was deep in GI Joe and all this other stuff. As a kid, I remember watching Thundercats,
Mhm.
Voltron, Silverhawks, probably popularity wise in that order. And then when the Ninja Turtles came out, that was it, Ninja Turtles, for a long time. Enough to where, you go back to 1999, 92, where my friend was doing those customs and stuff. He introduced me to things like the X-Men, and he was saying, well, if you like those types of mutants, check these mutants out. And I was like, they're mutants, but they look like people. I don't get it. Like, they're not animals. I was so used to Ninja Turtles. And then I saw Nightcrawler. I'm like, okay, he's my favorite because he looks like an animal. You tell him he's a mutant. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Beast is a mutant. You could tell.
right. You got these normies walking around saying they're mutants, and the normies don't like those. It was the concept at the time to me. I mean, I was 12. It was kind of
Mhm.
weird. You used to one thing for so long, and then somebody introduces you to something new that's different. And I don't have anything against different things, but it was a hard pill to swallow. I'm like, so wait, they look like you and me, but they're mutants.
So I've got to ask a question. It's a very important one to Jesse. He likes to know this from our guests.
Uh-oh.
But did you watch X-Men the animated series? And if so, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it was very much the Saturday morning routine. You know, you turn you Monday through Friday, you don't get up because you don't want to go to school and you drag your rear end. Saturday morning, you were up.
Mm-hmm.
You were up watching the cartoons. I personally preferred the Spider-Man cartoon over the X-Men, but the X-Men was on anyway. I have a history with Spider-Man, so Spider-Man's kind of, if I had to pick a favorite Marvel hero, Spider-Man's him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched all of that stuff. I never stopped watching cartoons. I still watch cartoons.
Yeah, Jesse really loves that cartoon.
I watch American cartoons. I watch the Japanese anime. I do it all, man.
It sounds like we're about the same age because I was 12 in 92 as well, and my friend Sean got me into comics the year before. So the year The Rocketeer was out was the year I got into comics. So when the cartoon for X-Men hit, I wasn't interested because they were so different to me that I didn't like the cartoon version of them.
Well, for what it is, you know, I mean, even from comic to comic, the characters are treated differently, so it's just different stories. It's an extension of the main story.
At that point, I didn't know that yet, so I was just. And I don't like the whole Rogue Gambit thing, and that cartoon really pushed that. So, but that's a whole different topic. I need therapy for that. I know that's my problem.
So you said that you were a big Spider-Man guy. Did you watch the old TV series, the live action Spider-Man?
I've seen some of it. I've not really gone back to watch it.
Gotcha. I didn't know if you were watching that as a kid or not, because that was like, I loved that.
I think I was aware that it used to come on, but I had to compete with TV time with my two younger cousins, which were both girls. So they wanted to watch all of the girl stuff.
Gotcha.
So I had to pick and choose my battles. The Thundercats won out most of the time back then.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't get there was some of those shows like that, like the old Adam West Batman. My dad would watch it, my mom would watch it, so I would get to watch that too. Same thing with the Spider-Man. And then my mom loved, her favorite comic book show at the time was Greatest American Hero. Like, she loved that. You remember that one?
I do remember that. Yeah. I had aunts that watched that religiously because I think they had a crush on the guy.
Yeah. And he couldn't land, like, so he was crashing into shit. Good stuff.
What was it? I would see the Adam West show on like TNT. I think it was before TBS was a thing. Like TNT would run like all those like rerun shows in the block in the summer. So it'd be like Batman, Gilligan's Island, the Flying Nun or whatever, or Gidget, or I don't remember, but yeah, all that stuff. And so that's how I knew that Batman. So when that 89 Batman came out, I was like, what? That looks scary. I don't want to watch that.
I remember watching one of those episodes. It always sticks with me because, like, I'll say this line from that show. There was one episode where the Riddler had Robin tied up and he's on the roof and Batman's racing up the building to save Robin. And Riddler shoves him off the roof and he's tied up. So he can't, like, you know, so he goes swooping by Batman, falling down to his death. And Batman is going to throw a batarang with the cable down to him, but he's tied up so he can't catch it. And he tells Robin to catch it with his teeth. And sure enough, he catches the batarang with his teeth. And Batman pulls him back up by his teeth clenching on the batarang. And he gets up and he says, "Holy molars, Batman." That is classic Adam West Batman right there. To this day, I'll say "Holy molars, Batman" to my kids and stuff.
Being younger, being a kid, if I would have been in that situation watching the TV, and as soon as Riddler threw Robin off out the window or whatever, the roof, and passed up Batman, I'd have probably turned the TV off. I'd have probably no, I'm done. The bad guy's got the upper hand. I actually, true. I did this with the Ninja Turtles one time. Shredder was beating them so bad, I could not fathom the way they were getting out of whatever it was. I can't even remember what episode it is. I probably haven't even seen it. Even still to this day, I got up and turned the TV off. I already had a bad day at school. I didn't want to come home and see them have a bad day. So I was done.
Zombie's like, well, it was a good run. Turn it off. That was it. Yep. Enjoyed the Turtles while they were on.
I mean, of course, I went back the next day. That episode was better, but I'll have to go and figure out what episode that was. But I know I was upset.
Eduardo says, remember the shark repellent spray? I do that. That's from the Batman movie, the Adam West movie. He's got a shark on his leg that's going to explode. It's got a bomb in it. And he has to spray him with the shark repellent to get the shark to release off his leg before it blows
There's
up.
Actually shark repellent out there. That's a real thing now.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
really a real thing. Yeah, they make it. There's it's like these canisters. It's like a smoke grenade thing. And you pop the top and you throw it in the water. And it has the scent of I know too much about animals. It has the scent of a dead shark, and sharks don't like the scent of their own dead, so they leave the area. They think there's a predator there that will feed on them, so they leave. It's a real thing. I swear to you, look it up.
I believe it. Batman was ahead of his time.
Yes.
So yeah, we got predictive shows: Star Trek Next Generation, or Star Trek, The Simpsons, and Batman 66.
There you go.
Oh man, I could hear my mom when you were talking about catching it with his teeth. My mom, if I'd ever go to hold a toy in my teeth or try to break Legos apart with my teeth, my mom would just lose it because she had a lot of dental work done. So it was more of I know what happens when your teeth go wrong. So just thinking about Robin catching that in his teeth, I'm wincing over here hearing my mom.
I chipped one of my front teeth on the car. I was sitting, the window was down and I was sitting on the ledge, and we were actually at a Sonic drive-thru. I was with my mom waiting on the food, and for whatever reason, I'm gnawing on the car. I chipped a tooth, and I had a chip in my tooth until it was a baby tooth, so it came out.
That is a great question, Paul. Zombie, people want to know, are you going to be at Legions Con this year?
We'll see. I can't make any promises. The only reason why I can't definitively answer that is because of the nature of my job and where I work.
Gotcha.
It can change at a moment's notice. So I don't know what next month looks like, much less November.
Now, see, Billy Beige told me he was going to bring you, even if you're kicking and screaming. So
that may be what it takes. Who knows?
All right.
But you would like to be there if you can.
Oh, I wish I could have been there in past years. The con, the intern for a day thing. I would love to do all of that stuff. I am in southern Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So that is quite a trek. I'm not getting on a plane unless my life depends on it. I've flown enough times to know I don't like it.
No.
It's not the flying, it's that sudden impact into the ground if things go wrong. I don't like that, and there's so much red tape you got to go through, and it's only worse now from when I was flying. I'm done with flying.
Yeah, I drove last year, and for me, it's about 15 hours with stops and everything, and it ended up being more like 17 hours, but I still would rather do that than flying. It's just, personal preference, but yeah, that's how I'm going to go there this upcoming year too. So, okay. Well, what else you got? I mean, I know last time I saw you on a show, I think you might've been on Legion's Lair, but I saw you I remember one time I saw you on Jeremy's show.
Yeah. About a year ago.
You had master boxes about 6 foot high of just projects that you were working on, and you even said at the time you weren't really taking commissions because you had so much work to do. Did you get caught up on that stuff? How are things going today? What does the customizing plate look like?
I take commissions every now and then. Somebody will drop me a message, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? Or, somebody will just straight out ask me, hey, do you take commissions? Depending on what I'm working on at the time. If I'm busy with something for a Legion shop or Wolf King, I don't really have time to commit to it. So I try not to get myself buried like I was back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still have, like, you can see, like, under me, like right here, you still see boxes peeking out. I tried to like hide. It didn't work. There's
Well,
still
3 foot high is better than 6 foot high. That's good.
some of this. Well, it's like I'm in a 10 by 10 room, so the boxes go from this corner to this corner, and I've got some still over there in that corner. But a lot of it now is my personal collection. Like, I don't have space. Like, you see these shelves. I worked on these shelves for a few months myself, building them, and there's still not enough room for all of the Legions that have come out, much less what I actually have, because I don't have everything. I don't have there's Legions I'm missing. I don't have I don't have space to display everything that's already come out, and there's more on the way. But the walls in this room, if I could take a 360 image here, the only space that doesn't have shelves on it is right in front of my table that I do all of my custom work on and my photography. So where I take my pictures is also where I do my painting and chop shopping and everything. So I have to keep that wall clear. There's shelves just like this all the way around this room up to the window. There's shelves. I've got a TV that's mounted, that there's shelves underneath it. And then there's a shelf that runs maybe 8 inches from the ceiling, around half of the room, that I've got more stuff sitting on, and that goes even above my door to the room. So
he might have
shelves.
He might have you beat, Jesse. I know you're kind of floor to ceiling with your stuff, but he might have you beat.
I think so.
So I know at one point I reached out to you for a custom, and it wasn't too long after that interview, and I knew you were kind of busy, but I figured it was a shot because you had said something about some of the figures on the old message boards, and one of them that I wanted was this Fibular the Dwarf Hunter.
Yep.
And
I remember.
I saw the pictures, and it was a Photoshop picture from the old message boards. It was this, skeleton with the 2 dwarf skulls, and I just thought it was an amazing figure. Plus, I love picking on the dwarf fans, so I thought it would be an excellent one to do. And when I showed you that, at first you're like, "Yeah, I'm kind of busy, I'm really not taking anything right now." And I showed you that picture, and then you're like, yeah, let's do that. We kind of worked out an arrangement and sent you the parts and stuff. But this is definitely the prize figure in my collection. And like, I took it to Legions Con this past year just to show it off, and I had to turn away so many people that wanted to buy it. And I'm like, nope, that's not for sale. Sorry.
Yeah, that was special. I'd always wanted to make customs of those old Photoshop mock-ups that, and I'm probably going to say his name wrong, Eric Borries.
Mm-hmm.
He did, and there are other artists that did other mock-ups, and I've still got some of those saved. So who knows? You may see some more soon.
Well, it kind of looked like it started a little trend, because then you ended up knocking out like 4 or 5 of them right after that.
I went on a tear on those things.
Yeah, and there were some
I
ones.
don't have any of them. They're all with other collectors now.
Oh, that's cool.
Everybody, I don't have a single one of them, so I may have to recreate some of them.
Yeah, and some of them, like when you look at the mock-up pictures, it's like, not sure how you would do that, like because it wasn't just pop and swap parts. Like, some of them were kind of unique. Like this one, had this the skeleton head, but with the orc helmet on it. Like, so you had to put that on there, and then obviously the dwarf skulls with the beards. Like, that's not anything that exists. So there's a lot of customizing involved in making those mock-ups become reality. It's not just painting. So I like I said, I know you did a few more of those, and they all looked like they came out fantastic.
Yeah.
There's two that were really challenging, and they were both skeletons.
Mhm.
The first one was, and I don't remember what he's called, but he's just head to toe armor, and he's got like the additional armor pieces like you were talking about, where I actually had to cut up some of the skirt pieces
Mhm.
and the folds and everything and put them in places they're not meant to go. But it works somehow in the tangible world, even from just a Photoshop image. Because in Photoshop, you can take a slice of pizza and turn it into someone's face, like a photograph, and nobody would know unless you told them, "Oh yeah, it started out as a picture of a slice of pizza."
Right.
You can do anything with Photoshop. So the second one was the skeleton with the raven helmet, which I actually had to sculpt that. I sculpted that out of epoxy sculpt. The official one that the Horseman made was way too small, even on the 2.0 skeleton skull. So that one was definitely a different kind of challenge, but still challenging nonetheless.
Yeah. And there was one, wasn't there one that was like an all white, had the rib cage showing that was
Oh
that
yeah,
part obviously didn't exist initially. Um,
yeah. The closest thing was from Wolf King Customs.
right.
Thankfully, Mass Customs was able to do something close enough to where I was like, okay, that's the part I gotta use that.
And then
That's
what?
just
Yeah, wasn't there like a demon one that you did like like you did, it almost looked like a lava effect or something.
yes. I did three demons actually. There were three different mock-ups, and
Mhm.
the red one I kind of took some liberties with, but the base idea was still there. The one that you're referencing was a black demon, and I started that with I painted all of those cracks in silver, and then I painted them with clear Tamaya yellow,
Mhm.
and then outlined them every little crack with the clear Tamaya red, and then went
Mhm.
back with black, the base color, and tightened up all the lines and everything. So that's not etched into the sculpt at all. It's just painted on top of it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I remember I asked you that because it looks like it's etched in. Like it looks like you dremeled
And
it
I
or
could have
something.
done
Yeah.
that, but I chose to see how it would turn out first, just painting it on there.
Yeah, it's amazing how like just a paint job can make it look like there's depth to it that's not really there. It's a 2D, image, but um yeah, just cool. So I mean, when I can tell you when I first came into the community, like I didn't have Instagram. Like that was, you were talking about Facebook, like not being on Facebook. I was kind of the same thing with Instagram. Like that was foreign to me. My kids were on there and stuff, but that's nothing I ever did.
I think I did
Um
Instagram before Facebook myself.
yeah. So I created Instagram just to post some of the things that I was working on, and yours was one of the first ones I stumbled across. And like just some of the cool things that you did, like you did a Templar skeleton that was really cool. The one that really I remember right from the get go that caught me was you did one of those Minotaur ogre sets for, I think it was, you did it for Travis Bowles, and it was the blue one
Yeah.
that it's just fantastic. To this day, it's one of my favorite ones. If I could ever get that away from Travis, I would definitely try. But it is fabulous. So, but yeah, some of your work initially, when I first saw it, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like that really inspired me for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you've done some things too where I was like, man, why didn't I think of that?
Well, thank you.
Well, you unlocked my Fuzzmonk creativity. Like Thistlethorn was my favorite. When I saw you post that one, what did you call it? Was it Thistle Snatch?
Yeah.
When I saw you did that, I was like, oh my gosh, of course that head would fit on that torso. And that was just like, achievement unlocked, brain went wild, and then I did all those things I did last year.
all credit goes to Travis Bowles for the name on that. I just took the Mephitor head and put it on the Ragna Stormforger body with a couple of other parts, because really it was just kind of everybody else was, some people were being serious about it and others weren't, about the pop and swap contest during the, what was it, All Stars 4 Trevor and them put on. So it wasn't, my entry wasn't really a serious entry, but it was kind of like, hey, this is kind of cool actually. And I've since taken the idea for her and amped it up a little bit. And if you want to pull those pictures up I sent you earlier.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's see.
We'll go straight into it.
Let me see here.
Like past the first thing. You'll see.
Yeah, let me get past the. Oh. Did I lose you?
No, we're
I'm
still
here.
here.
Okay. All right. Where does this go? There we go. See, I'm technically challenged too.
It's all good, man.
Okay.
So I did a little bit more work to the figure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh.
I've repainted the head. Obviously, it still has the same areas painted white as Mephitor, but it's toned down a little. And I'm going to change your name because some people are uncomfortable with Thistle Snatch. A little tease there.
There we go.
I'm calling her Pricklethorn.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I love the eyes on there.
So, yeah, there's another shot. It shows them a little bit better. The eyeball itself, I first started with black, and then I just put a yellow circle and then the line down the middle.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I've also changed a couple of other little pieces on her, but I added a belt from, I think it's from an Artemis, the second version of Artemis. And I'll probably change that too, because I like the belt that comes on Swig. So as soon as I get a Swig, I'm changing the belt.
Oh, right.
This belt's a little bit different. So I may end up changing the hands too when the Cosmic comes out, because I want her, she's got armored hands. I kind of want the gloved hands, and that comes with, that Cosmic has that hands pack that has those more glove-like, maybe a leather look, I guess, for lack of a better description.
Yeah. Oh man, these are great.
That's cool.
There's that one leg pose that Cap was in. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I always kind of envision her as maybe a thief-like character, like Snack, So
okay.
That's why she's in dark colors.
And it looks like the next picture is her with someone else. Is that just? I just see the little picture. Is that
Thistlethorn?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So she's a little bit taller, but that's because that midsection. I kept the Ragna midsection instead of putting a goblin. Right. And then the next one is with Mephitor, just so you can see a comparison between the heads.
Yeah.
But awesome.
That's super cool.
You took that idea and ran with it. You shot off like a rocket, man. You got so many fuzz monks. I really, really hope for both our sakes that Eric Treadaway does the female head that was teased.
Yeah.
Because I will be using that head for her if it ever comes out.
Well, and that was from Intern from a Day, right, Jesse?
That was I forget. I think that might have. I don't remember whose group that was, but it wasn't my group, and I was so disappointed I did not be more vocal to request. I was requesting a fuzz monk, and then someone said "fish person" louder, and I was just kind of like, okay. And someone else during the day got that, and that image. Like as soon as that ended, Jeremy came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I got to show you something." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And he just pulled it up and showed. I was like, "Oh, dang it, I was in the wrong group."
Well, if we're ever in a situation like that, and we'll definitely have to be sitting by each other, because I can be quite loud and boisterous to a point where I drowned everybody else.
So for those of us that didn't get to see what that looked like, what is your impression of what you saw? Now, obviously, when Eric's doing that, he only has a short amount of time so it's probably not a completed sculpt. He probably would add more details. But what was your thoughts when you saw it?
You asking me or Jesse?
Who I don't have you seen it too, Zombie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
saw
Yeah, so either one, yeah, both of you.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I have not seen it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it definitely has softer features, and I don't mean just the detailing into it, because it is, like you said, it's a rough sculpt, much like whenever Emil and you were doing the 2 sculpting sessions live on YouTube. Emil could only get so far with that amount of time, and he kept saying, "I'll go back and add more details into it and flesh everything out." It is a soft sculpt, but all the forms are there. It's a little bit of a narrower face, to where Thistlethorn kind of has the the chipmunk cheek kind of look, and then a little full. Hers are a little slimmer, and I think she's got maybe like longer hair for the back. Somebody was joking saying something about a mullet, fuzzmuck mullet or something. But I think I liked it. I really like it. There's very few things that Eric Treadaway sculpts that I don't like.
Yeah, I don't have a Thistlethorn, but I would try to get one for sure, especially if they put that out. Oh, that's cool.
I wish I'd have known that. I wish I'd have known that, Curtis, because I just sold 2.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know you didn't have one.
No, were you the person that bought the 24?
Despite popular belief, no, I don't have 24. I don't have 22 now. I have 1 regular Thistlethorn and 1 test shot.
Nice.
And I had to get the test shot. Had to, because the horseman included the sword horseman, which I was responsible for making the original design for that.
Oh, cool.
So, and he did come with the test shot sword horseman, and that's the only reason why I bought him.
Yeah.
Because of the sword horseman. I just knew he had to come with it. I'm like, if I have to have 1 test shot, and I only own 1 test shot, I have had others, but I've sold them or given them away to other people that wanted them. But
I think that's the one that Jesse needs for sure, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
That's the only test shot I want. Yeah.
Sorry, Jess. I can't let
that's okay.
go.
No, I don't blame you.
He's actually, I put him in a box like other people have been shown to do with their test shots. They'll put it in. He's in this one box. He's up on the wall.
Nice.
I've seen some folks do the shadow box too, where they put the 2 figures side by side with all the accessories and stuff. I ended up getting 2 test shots from Cosmic, and I traded one of them, but the other one I just can't. It's so good. Like it's the Cosmic Sentry, and I love that so much. Like for the past 2 weeks, like I've just been playing with it. It's sitting on my desk. So while I'm working, I'll be like in the middle of a meeting, and I'm like pew pew, and like, like I'm popping different Wolf King heads on it and stuff, and people are like, "Curtis, you there?" Like, oh yeah. Sorry,
I just spaced out for a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so good. I can't wait for Cosmic. So speaking of which, like, are you more of a Mythic guy, more of a Cosmic guy? Are you excited for Cosmic? What's your thoughts?
I am excited for Cosmic in a different way. My favorite of the 2 is probably going to remain Mythic at this point. I do. Man, that's a hard question. Like I do like the space sci-fi type of thing. I've got a small collection of Star Wars off to my left. You can see some of the clones actually peeking into the camera right here.
Yeah.
So there's
nice
Star Wars
corner
on this shelf. There's Star Wars on this shelf and this shelf, and a couple that I've customized. So I'm excited for Cosmic. Yeah, I'm excited more for Cosmic to learn about the engineering that they did for this line, because just looking at the test shot pictures, I can already tell there's some things that doesn't exist with Mythics the way it's named. So I'm excited about that, because I have a few ideas myself of some pieces that I want to get made.
Awesome.
Well, and that's a good segue. So, we know just recently you started working with Wolf King Customs,
I did. Yep.
and there you go. You got the shirt and everything, and
Yeah. I had to.
and they had some, kind of initial parts at Legions Con, and I know that there's some stuff that they have out there. Anything that you can talk to us about as far as what's in the works or things? That's an awesome set.
Yep. We're finalizing these pauldrons here.
Let me make you big here.
There we go. These were not initially available when the head and torso were on the site. There were just a few bugs that we needed to work out. So those are nearing completion. Will be available soon.
And is that a full torso or is that a chest plate?
That is a chest plate.
Okay.
Let me see. I've got one here that I don't have painted. Even the chest plate, there it is. The chest plate we revised a little bit too. The first version didn't have a backing behind the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
This one now does. It just adds more stability. So there's a shot from my camera of the back.
That's cool.
So now, before, it looked really cool being hollow behind it, but it really needed that stability behind it. And if you use a black torso and you paint behind there black, if you base it out all in black and just dry brush over the ribs, it still looks hollow anyway, because there's still space between where the ribs are and that backing. So it's not it's solid, but it's not a solid, if you know what I mean. It's like a layered piece. So those are coming. The cat skull mask that was shown at Legions Con that everybody's asking about. That's my new mask for the cat heads. Those are being worked on. The holdup with it was the underside where the head seats into the mask wasn't quite right. And rather than try to rush it out and it sit kind of funny, we really wanted to go back and work some more on that to try and get it to where it's a really good fit.
So as you're working on these parts, is this now in digitally sculpting or is this still traditional sculpting?
Well, I did not sculpt the I'm calling them the Necros Militus. I didn't sculpt these. There's a new sculptor. Lynn says his name is Gia. I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Really talented. I've been really happy with the work because I'll do like what Steve Bisciotti does is I'll sketch something out and give it to Lynn and hey, what do you think of this? And he'll either go, well, it's cool, but what about this? And then we'll just bounce off, ideas off each other that way. Or he'll like that the chest piece with the ribs was a very crude sketch. Like my initial idea was just to, just the flat piece with just a little, raised ribs over it, and everything was basically what the sketch was. And Lynn fell in love with it and gave that to Mass Customs actually with Mark. And Mark sculpted the torso piece. And I was floored with how much detail he had added into that. It was just, I was like, wow, I love it. Let's do it. I do have one more piece that was teased at the show. I don't have any pictures, but it is something that will definitely work with Mythics. People have seen it before, has never been released. But I'm really excited to put it on Cosmic.
Oh, nice. So, I was just going to ask you if you had any ideas coming up for Cosmic. So
yes, I do. I have quite a few ideas. I don't have a figure with me to base anything off of yet. So I'm kind of waiting for those to come in and get my first order so that I can go, okay, I see what I have to do to make this fit. And then either I'll sketch it and send it to Lynn, or who knows, maybe I'm learning a little digital.
Nice. Nice. Working in the digital realm.
it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm the technical jargon and what this thing does and what that does.
Mm,
It's confusing to me because I'm not used to dealing in something like that. So I
right.
am taking baby steps. Baby steps. Like, unless something clicks upstairs, it may not be another year before you see something digital from me. I don't know. I really don't. It's
I
challenge to
admire
learn.
I admire that dedication. I downloaded a cheaper one. I think it was called Putty or something like that on my iPad. I spent about 10 minutes trying to play with it. And I was like, I've got skills in other places. This will be something to work on at some other point. I'm
Well, see, there's a quote that Bob Ross used, and I always go back to it, and it's. Let me see if I can do this without messing it up. Talent is a pursued interest. Anything you're willing to participate in, you can do. So you have to be willing to pick it up. You
Mhm.
can't just pick it up and expect to be the best at anything.
sure.
Everybody has talent in different areas. Something that you might be talented in. Uh, I'm not very talented in, and same with you, Curtis.
Mhm.
You have talents that I don't. And it's with me with doing things like that. It's never a competition. I don't like competitions because someone always expects to be the winner, and there always has to be losers. I don't. I
Mhm.
don't ever look at anything like that. I always look at it from a perspective of what can I create and share with
Mhm.
everyone.
Yeah. And
That's
that's, back to, kind of like when I first got into the line, um, your work inspires a lot of people. And you talked about like you and Jeremy and Dennis and Nikki, from the old, boards and stuff, like seeing the stuff that you guys share, seeing, sometimes you guys will talk about paint matches or how you use certain parts or whatever. Like that has been part of what's built this community to where people aren't like latching onto this knowledge and not, talking to one another. Like it is, like you said, it's not a competition. It's about inspiring others and appreciating the artwork. And that's one of the things that I loved about Legions Con was that, you go around all these different tables and a lot of these folks are selling similar things. They're selling painted heads or they're selling diodes but it's not, I'm trying to sell more than you or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like it's very much everybody appreciating the art that people are putting out there. And it's just a wonderful experience. So
I kind of sort of have an experience with something like that because I used to like I've never really truly gone to any convention really, much less vended at one or exhibited at one. But I used to paint. I call it tourist art down here in New Orleans for the French Quarter, and I would sell paintings, canvas paintings. So I noticed after a while everybody's stuff started looking similar. So I would come up with new ideas on doing, something different. And people would walk by, tourists would walk by, and because my stuff looked different, it would sell. So the people next to me would start kind of copying what I was doing. So I was constantly having to change things up and everything. And after a while, it got to a point where it was okay, you're trying to sell more stuff than I am, and it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I kind of stopped doing that.
mhm.
Um, and I'll post stuff on the Cabal or whatever to sell some pieces that I painted. Not everything sells,
Mhm.
and that's okay. I'll hang on to it until maybe somebody messages me and says, hey, I'm looking to have some heads painting. One of those heads might be it, and I'll tell them, hey, I've already got it painted. You want it, it's yours. So even
Mhm.
if something doesn't sell right away, it's still there in case the right person comes along. And there would be situations back to the canvas paintings where somebody might like the painting and they'll come up and there's always sort of like this bargain kind of thing. You have your set prices. Everybody looks for a deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would try to negotiate with me and everything, and the price just wouldn't be agreeable to either party, and I would just simply tell them, this painting isn't meant for you.
Mm-hmm.
Those pieces, if you don't buy them, if you don't like them, those pieces aren't meant for you. It's
Right.
meant for someone else. And eventually those will find the people that they're meant for.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I don't see it too much anymore, but I saw when kind of early on in my Cabal days, I would see, some people that would sell a custom or try to sell a custom, and somebody would question the price that they're trying to sell it for. And it's like, you've got to realize, the parts that are going into this. I mean, you buy a figure today for, $35. I mean, that figure alone without any work to it, a year from now, maybe $100, because that's just the way this line goes. So you've got the parts in it, number one. Then you've got the work that you put into it. You've got the time and stuff. But then you've also got all the customs that you did before that, and all the things that you've learned, all the knowledge, all the tools of the trade that you've picked up along the way that goes into that as well. You're paying for all of that when you buy somebody's customs. And if to your point, if the price isn't right and it's not something that you feel like you want to spend that much money on, then it's not for you. But it's not for anybody to question the price that somebody puts on their custom. So
every now and then, you'll see somebody and they've got this really huge price on something. I try to stay conservative with my pricing, even if, like you said, it's a figure that you got, say for the $45, $47 mark, and a year later it's at a higher price. Well, I didn't pay that higher price for that figure. If I do pay a higher price for that figure, of course, that raises the final price of the final product. But I always try to, because I look at it as, I'm a fan, I'm a collector too. I'm not sitting on piles of money, and I know other people aren't right now. And given the state of the economy this day and age, I'll spit it out in a second. A lot of people, they have to make choices. Well, do I want to eat, ramen for another couple of weeks and buy this custom that this dude's trying to sell, or do I want to live comfortably? And I know what I would choose, and I have. But it's always a balancing act, what parts went into it. Like when I do a custom and I paint those parts that move, the articulation, dreaded thing that everybody hates doing, I don't dye anything. Everything's hand painted. I take my Dremel tool. I have the diamond tipped bits. There's like used for sharpening or something like that. Well, that's what I use to kind of take off that top layer of the joint discs inside the parts that move. I don't really carve down into it. I just kind of try to stay on the surface. It serves a double purpose. It takes off that top layer to make a little bit of clearance, but it also roughs up that joint just a little bit to give something for the paint to stick to. So it's kind of a dual purpose thing to do if you're going to sand the joints, which I've always, and even back in the Marvel Legends days of customizing, to do the joint prep. If it moves, it's going to move, and I'm going to do my best to avoid paint rub when it moves. So if you're getting a custom from me, it's not something that you're going to have to leave on the shelf in a static pose. Pose it once and leave it alone, dust it off every now and then. No, it's going to move. You can move it. And I'm guilty of not showing that in my own pictures when I post things. I'll just kind of have them standing there sometimes. And then I'll go back and I'll look at it. I'm like, why didn't I give him a better pose? I could have done something more dynamic with that.
Yeah.
But if it moves, it's going to move if it's custom from me without any fear of paint rub.
That's one thing. I was at ZoloCon last weekend, and your the mole rat figure you had done that got a lot of attention.
Come up with a name for him, like maybe Moriarty or something.
I like that.
He caught a lot of people's attention. Like I saw as people were going down the table, And
I
just
appreciate that. I do. I really do. But he's so small compared to everything else that was there. I'm like, y'all picked him out. Are you serious?
he was just in this right spot. It just caught. I would just hear people walking down. They'd be commenting. I was like, oh, look at, and then like, especially it was like 20-something-year-old dudes. They'd just be like, dude, look at that. Like, it was great.
I'm sorry.
But, I think Len was saying this in the Wolf's Den the other day, or somewhere someone was talking about how that felt like a complete designed action figure. It didn't feel like a custom. And like, that's like that one. I didn't pick it up. I was afraid to touch anything that wasn't mine.
You could have totally picked it up. The only thing that probably would have happened was the frying pan would have probably fell off the hook that's on the side of the backpack.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's yeah, whenever I'm doing something like that, and this is kind of adjacent to the question that you asked earlier, Curtis, about visualizing what direction you want to go when you make a custom and everything. To kind of further explain that is, okay, you know, in the Iron Man movies, when Tony Stark is working with the hard light graphics and everything on screen, and that's kind of like what it's like in my head. I'm looking at all these different parts, and I'm going, okay, that's definitely what I want to use. Put that part. Well, you know, I've got like these bags of body parts, and I'm digging through them. And I'm going, okay, yeah, that's what. When those Varg wraps became available, that was one of the first things. I had the head, I had the Varg wraps, and then Lynn had sent me a care package of some of the new torso plates, and I found one that worked perfect for it. I'm like, okay, there's my starting point. And then I found some bare arms to add to them to paint match to the head and neck, and just took it from there. And I used green because I know at one point Lynn said one of his favorite colors was green. So that's why I used green on him. The only reason, like, I'm sitting there going, what am I going to paint this? What he's wearing? I'm going, Lynn likes green. I'll paint him green. And then he's also wearing soft good trousers that I did not make. I got those from Brian Peacock.
He makes, those are great pants.
Phenomenal quality. I put those on him. I had those for a different custom that I'm planning on doing, and I put those on Moriarty, and I'm like, that's staying. I'm not taking them off. And then one other thing too is the tail on that custom is I'm notorious for doing this for little rat customs and stuff. Is I'll take the Halloween decoration, the skeletal rats that you can find, and they've got that wire bendy tail, but they're always in like this off-white cream color, and it didn't match. So I painted it. And there's probably people going, well, wait, it's bendy. How did you paint it and the paint not crack? I'm going to show something that I've never shown anybody else anywhere. This is the mold maker that I use whenever I used to make molds and copy my sculpts and all that kind of stuff. If you mix a couple of drops of this into your paint will be flexible. So that's how I did it. That's how I painted that flexible piece. And then all of these, all of the printers, and that's something I forgot to get out, was there's flexible paint that's actually in the cosplay sections at some of the craft stores and everything. So if you can't find that stuff or don't want to go that way, you can use those flexible, cosplay paints. Trying to remember, it might be right here. I can probably grab one here in just a second. I've got like stuff everywhere over here in case there's something I touched on, so I can grab it. And I didn't think to grab one of those. Yes. Okay. Perfect. The black. Where's my? That's it.
Okay. Cool.
And it at the time when I got it was $3.99, and I got it at Hobby Lobby.
Cool.
Awesome.
So
thank you for sharing those.
Yeah, it's put out by Plaid. So
okay,
those are.
So besides like that tail, what would be another example of something that you would paint that on that would be flexible?
The flex resin pieces that you can get through third parties. You can paint them with your regular paints. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But this, if you use this as your base coat, you can still then go back and use your typical paints. Like if it's a chainmail loin piece or something, you can base it out in this, and it'll still give you that flexibility without your paint chipping off of your base coat. And then you can do your dry brushing on top of it after it's dried and everything, and it'll hold up.
Cool.
It's wonderful stuff. Another thing that I use for like my metallics is the folk art stuff, and like I'll go ahead and share this with you now. This one is antique copper. That is the copper color on Purple Ore.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
this is it. That's it. The other one is just it's the bottle is so old. It's just copper. That is the copper color on Calros. So all those masks and everything that I painted, this is it. This is what I used.
There's your big secret remedy.
Yes.
Or recipe.
And then there's another one, metallic peridot. Am I saying peridot right? Is peridot
Yep.
how you say that?
Oh yeah.
That is the Xylona green,
Nice.
like all the accent armor and stuff.
I know what's the other one? The was it Deco Art has one that I think I saw at the studio. What was it? Festive Green.
Yeah, festive green.
It's
Yeah,
probably
that was what they were using for the newest Xylona wave.
the newer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's very similar, but yeah.
It's probably like
Cool.
Pepsi, Coke.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I painted this guy.
That's awesome.
That's the new one. Haven't shown him off yet before either. When I painted this guy, the accents and stuff on the armor, because part of him is Kratos, and some of the pieces that I needed to match did not, and that's the paint that I used, and it matched it perfect.
Nice.
The
Where's
green
that head from?
I think it's Big Head Studios. I think I'm saying that right.
That's a cool one.
If it's not, I'll make a correction when I do post him. This is part of a project that I'm working on. I am making my own version of the Seven Dwarves.
Oh, nice.
So there will be 6 more. Now, they're not all going to share the names from Disney Seven Dwarves. I've already shown an older one that I've just called like Heavy Dwarf or Heavy Armor Dwarf. That's going to be another one of the 7.
Well, this one definitely doesn't look happy. I'll tell you that. I would not call that happy.
This one, he's Doc.
Gotcha.
Nice.
This is Doc. He's got his little satchel here with some tools, and I have an axe from Wolf King that I did in similar colors. So that's going to him. I got to figure out some glasses for him. I got this Santa Claus ornament thing, and it had just the part that goes across the face. I got to figure out how to attach that, but I don't want it to be permanent. Like I want it, I like things to where you can take them off, like with those the masks for I missed it.
Oh, sorry.
Vampire Gladiator. Which one was that? I don't even remember. I'm sorry, but thank you. There's so many customs I've done, and to be honest with you, I don't own most of the customs that I've made. They end up with other people. I have very few that I keep.
Is that mostly for space reasons?
I see. I used to never sell anything.
Yeah.
Like, I was so stingy. I'm like, no, I want to keep it. I made it. But I soon realized that other people enjoy some of the things that I do. So it makes me happy to see them happy with something that I made for them, or something that I made that they liked enough to buy it.
Right. That's cool.
I forgot what I was talking about before the Vampire Gladiator thing.
Sorry.
Well, we were talking about the different paints, and then you showed the dwarf with that the Xylona paint. So, well, cool, good stuff.
Here's for the glasses.
Well, let's see.
Black wire. You might be able to make some glasses for Doc.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I got wire everywhere over here.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's. Thank you. That reminded me where I was going. Like the mask, Calros and Purple Ore. I could have easily just made that a whole solid head, but I didn't want to because removable things are cool.
That's true. And now that you're working with Len likes hats. So anytime you have a hat, you're good.
I've made some suggestions to him about certain pieces that he says is not exactly top sellers. So put a hat on him.
There you go.
I love, like you said, the removable stuff. Like that's one of the things I really like about the Mythic Legions is like how even the studio themselves are trying to make them more compatible, like with the chest plate pieces. And now those face plates are coming in the Necronominus wave, you know? And I mean, they were already kind of there with like the hoods and stuff, but like now it's like intentionally they're giving you multiple plates to put in there from the get-go. And
the hands packs and
hands packs.
That type of stuff gets me excited, you know, because they took the time to engineer something that could have always been there, and they finally give it to us. Like, yes.
Yeah. Because then it's great for people who are maybe they're not comfortable buying like a full torso, 3D printed torso. But if you get that factory one, you pop that chest plate in there, everything still functions exactly the way it's supposed to, you know.
Those full torsos are so hard to get right too, because you can sculpt it to be the best looking piece that you've ever put out, but the fit's not right. The arms are too loose. It doesn't pop into the waist socket or something, or the necks are brittle. The neck breaks off. Not everybody can fix something like that. Put a little dab of glue on it, put the head back on, turn the head, it snaps off again, and that type of thing is frustrating. So when I saw those new torsos with those plates, I immediately started drawing ideas and sent them all to Lynn. And I'm like, yeah, let's make them. He's like, I like the skeleton one.
Now, I can't wait for them to make a 2.0 scale one that has that feature.
You know what we need in the 2.0 scale? Those male bear torsos.
That too.
We need those. I have so many ideas for characters, and I need that slimmer build for that.
Oh, I just got one of the ones from Len for the Mud Thumps. I've got. Oh, it's over here. I'm putting McFarlane Wonder Woman arms on him. Once I file the pegs down.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't have any other bear arms for a 2.0. So, but yeah, they got a really fat peg on that. Anyway, that's the closest I've seen to like the slender, torso, but it's got a little bit of that hunch to it.
See, there's some out there, you know, that like with Lynn, he made the one for the goblins. There's Seba made some through Planetary Dog Toys, but they're like that solid piece. They don't have that mid torso break for the the swivel. That's really what I want to see is something like that.
Well, and to your point earlier too, it's tough with resin. It's tough with resin because you there's not any give. So either it's going to be a little bit too tight or a little bit too loose.
Right.
And if it's too tight, you're probably going to chip or break something. If it's too loose, now you're trying to figure out a way to get it to stick.
Yes.
So yeah, that is awesome with the chest plates because it gives you more of that flexibility design wise, while still having a solid figure that is put together well.
I was looking for something else on this topic of looseness. That's why a lot of the people that produce those will make those joints looser so that you could just put something in that socket and jam the piece in it. And somebody had come up with a question about the Praetorian figure where the wrists seem to pop out. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the original poster's name. It's if you see me on Facebook and I'm posting it's because like I'm taking a break from doing something else, so I don't live there. So please forgive me. One of the tricks that I used to do back with Marvel Legends with stuff like that is I would take thin strips of just paper, like blank paper, paper with whatever paper you have, and just cut a thin strip the width of the peg, like you were talking about with the thicker peg. You're gonna have to sand that down, or hollow out that goblin's socket inside the torso to make that peg thick, fit. But for looseness, you can do that with paper. And then I started using another method, and I kind of shied away from it because it didn't really work as well as the paper. Was the plumber's tape, the thread pipe tape, or it goes by a lot of different names, but it's that Teflon stuff. And that's another thing that I didn't think to grab. But it's it comes in a little circular thing, and it's either blue or red or something like that. So you can wrap that around the pegs, and then put those into the appropriate places where the arms or legs or whatever may fit in, and it works. I like the paper a little bit better. It's less messy. It's not permanent, so you can undo it at any time. It's easy. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, last year somebody in the Cabal posted something about heat shrink tubes, and I didn't know anything about it. I've never used them before, but I bought like a whole thing that's got varying sizes of those, and they are great. Like you find the one that fits on an arm peg or a torso peg or whatever. You cut it down to size, you heat it up with a heat gun or a hair dryer, and it molds itself to the thing. Let it cool for a little bit, and then pop that thing in, and it's like brand new. And to your point, if you don't like it at some point or you ever want to switch it out, all you have to do is take a little X-Acto knife, cut that heat shrink tube, it just peels right off, and now you're back to where it was before. So
I used that stuff. I did a mod on the Hand Ninja from Hasbro whenever they came out with it, because its build was kind of funny. So I put some Shang-Chi arms on it. And they were bare arms and everything, and I wanted that cuff look. So I took heat shrink. I found one that would fit on it, and I heated it up. I cut it to shape. And with those, you can pop the hands off. You can actually slide that off, and it still holds its shape. So it's great stuff. I've used it several different ways in customizing. I used to use it back in 7th Kingdom days. I had made one of the hammer. I mean, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. My brain's thinking faster than my mouth can move. The Hammer of Gaul, one of the elephants from the 7th Kingdom wave, didn't come with a hammer. Like, he didn't have a big, huge hammer. So I made him one. I went to Hobby Lobby, and I bought a bunch of, I bought like some wooden dowels and some, there was a candle holder that I used for the big part of the hammer, and there was like a little small wooden bowl, and I glued it to the other side of that. There was other like wooden chest pieces that I used for the balance on the bottom of the hammer. But for the grip, I used heat shrink. I cut it into like ribbons and slid it on the handle and heated it up for the grip.
I actually just did that for the first time a couple weeks ago. I had a weapon, and it was a third-party vendor weapon. And for whatever reason, the handle was just a little bit too small for the hand. And so it was like floppy in there. And I was like, man, I wish that was a little bit tighter, but I didn't want to I guess I could have heated up the hand and kind of squeezed that down a little bit or something. But I was like, oh, maybe I'll just throw some heat shrink tube on the handle. So I did that. I just threw some of that on there, heated it up, put it back in the hand, and it was a firm grip. So
where do you find that? Where do you find that heat shrink stuff? That heat wrap?
I got it off of Amazon. I got a variety pack of it. I'll go grab it real quick.
So you can order it online, or you look in the electric section, not the electronics for home entertainment, but
like
if
in a
you've got
hardware store.
Yeah, or Walmart sells it. You can find some at Walmart. The bigger variety packs, though, like Curtis said, you can usually find it on Amazon and just order it and have it shipped.
So I don't know if you want to embiggen me there, but I got this one off of Amazon.
And they make other colors.
Yeah. and it's just like a variety pack.
Okay.
I'll try to post a link on Facebook when you post this recap. But it's got like,
yeah,
I don't know, 12 different sizes or something. And so you just open this thing up, and when you open it up, it's got, you know, a variety of different sizes, and you just find the size that fits what you're doing. So if this was, you know, the right size for like an arm peg, you just slide it over it, cut it down to size, heat it up, and it molds itself right to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Heat gun, hair dryer works wonders.
Okay.
So that's what you really want to use for it. It's not something that you can like stick in hot water. Maybe it might work. Dry heat's what you want to use with heat shrink.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'll heat it up, like I'll put it on the arm peg, heat it up, and let it mold itself to it. But then I'll let it cool down, because if you just try to shove that right in while it's still warm, it can kind of mush it up a bit. So you want to let it cool a little bit after you heat it up, and then pop it in. So
and that's typically if you're in a store in person like Walmart or, you know, some hardware store, it's around where you would find like wires for, you know, electronic work, because that's typically what it's supposed to be used for. If you splice two wires together, overheat it up so it adds the insulation back to a wire union.
Yeah, and that's what when that Mondo He-Man came out and everybody was having problems with the torsos popping off, I did that YouTube video where I just put some heat shrink tubing on it, cut it, and heated it up. And then everybody was like, "Oh, this is genius!" Like, you know, I'm like, "Well, I didn't create the idea; I just got it from somebody else." But I figured I'd share it because it was weird that Mondo He-Man came out. And I don't know if either of you guys collect the Mondos.
Oh, no. I've seen them. I don't collect them.
They're beautiful.
So the Mondo He-Man came out.
Yes, they do look great.
It got delivered. Most people got it between the week of Christmas and New Year's. Well, as a company, they give their entire company off that whole week, right? So like nobody works, like no customer service people, no nothing. They all take the week off from Christmas to New Year's. So everybody's getting these He-Mans and they're popping apart at the waist, and they're just bombarding customer service with emails and nobody's answering. And everybody's like losing their minds because nobody's answering their emails. And it's like the whole company's on vacation.
I've sent you 50 emails and you haven't responded to a single one.
Right. Like they're not standing behind their product. It's like, calm down. They'll be back in a few days. But in the meantime, here's a quick, cheap solution if you want it. So, yeah. But good stuff.
People are crazy about the toys sometimes.
Yeah. You gotta have a little patience. But
what's hard with that, being somebody that takes on commission work, is getting somebody that just they are difficult no matter what you do. It's like they know what they want, and they try to explain it to you, and you think you understand it. And then you do the work, and no, that's not right. That's not how I want it. You didn't listen to me. You didn't understand. So they explain it again, and then you do it again, and it still isn't right. And it's very frustrating because there's a lack of communication, lack of understanding there, and you're trying to do your best for the person. It can get frustrating, and then they just lose their minds. There is, and I'm bringing this up because there is one guy that did this to me, and I'll never do anything for him again, and I will never work on this character again. And I'm gonna name that character here in a second. No matter what I did, it was never right, and he was just obsessive about Robin.
About who?
Batman and Robin.
Oh, yeah.
Batman and Robin, but it was the Burt Ward Robin.
Oh, okay.
Like, he had those like old school figures and stuff, and he wanted them updated like constantly. And I did something on him one time, and he was happy, and then it came back. He wanted something else done to it. And these figures had been worked on by so many other people. I had to undo so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so stressful. And this was 2004, I want to say. I lived in Biloxi, Mississippi. I don't even remember the guy's name. It's gone. It's just gone. But yeah, it got to the point where, because I was working on that through a comic shop, and then Hurricane Katrina hit, and I was displaced for a little while. Well, I finally caught back up with the owner of that comic shop at the time, and I couldn't work on anything. I just gave the stuff back to him. I said, just tell the guy that you found the stuff in the back while you were packing stuff up, and you came across it, and you haven't heard from me since the hurricane hit. And I told him, just tell him I'm dead.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
I was kind of half joking, half not. I didn't want to look at another Robin for a long time. Like, I don't even own any Robin figures. No, I take that back. I do, but it's not like the typical Robin. And I just recently picked him up. It's like I don't even know what it's called. It's one of the McFarlane ones, the Jokerized, because I'm going to use him
King
for
Robin.
parts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm going to use him for parts. He's not even going to stay Robin. So the Robin off the table. I will never do
That's
another
pretty
Robin.
rough when you got to go into witness protection to get out of customizing.
Yeah. I want to throw this
Go ahead.
comment up from JV. Turning a Mondo Battle Cat into a Manticore for the Legions I don't know. My wallet definitely would not be able to support that, but I love that idea.
You need to leave, sir. Don't put ideas in my head.
Yeah, that's an expensive figure to try to customize.
Oh, that would be.
Hey, I'm saying, if anybody wants it done, hit me
There
up.
you go.
I'm not
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes a certain amount of patience and just to work and do commissions. Like for me, I like painting for Legion Shop. I like painting for Wolf King Customs. They send me the parts, I paint them up, I send them out. They handle everything. They sell them. They deal with the customer service. They, whatever. Even like if I paint things for myself or I make customs for myself and then sell them at a toy show or something, that's not a problem because, when you're buying it, you see what you're buying. There is no, hidden expectations or whatever. Or like you said, problems with communicating what they're looking for. Like it's basically, here's what I've created. If you want it, this is the price tag, and kind of go from there.
For a while, I didn't even deal with that guy face to face. It was literally through the comic shop. Like they were the middleman because they told me, you don't want this guy to learn who you are because he won't leave you alone. And I was in the shop one day. And something got brought up. We were talking about customizing or something, and he was in the shop. And I swear to you, it was. Where's my cue? It was like this. He came up on me so fast. He was like, "You're the one that does these Robin customs?" I'm like, "Yes, okay."
No, that's my brother Bill. He was
a character.
You're looking for Jeremy?
Yeah. Yeah.
From Maine?
There you go.
What's up, Carlo?
Cool.
Oh no.
So what other things are you into? Like, what kind of things are you watching? What kind of movies, TV shows or interest you?
Oh man, recently I'd never watched it before, so I finally, and usually when I say I watch something, it's on the TV and I'm painting, doing something. So, but it's always on in the background. Something might catch my attention, or an action scene or something, and I'll turn and I'll look at it. Firefly. Yeah. Finally watched Firefly, and I followed it up with the movie Serenity because it follows continuity. I liked it. Yeah. I liked it. It wasn't overly done with special effects and all that kind of stuff, and you could tell some of it was a little cheesy and hokey, but it was enjoyable. I liked it. I wish there were more. So I'm in that group of people that's going to be, give us more Firefly.
They have continued that on in comics.
Did they?
Yep, they progressed the story on after the events of the movie.
Who does the comics? Is that
there was a couple
maybe,
that Dark Horse did during
Dark Horse?
around the time, and then Dark Horse did it for a while. Then they relinquished the rights to, I think, Boom is who has it now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's I
We'll have to
haven't
look
kept up
into
with
that.
all of it, but it's good stuff. And the way that at least the first couple volumes through Dark Horse and then the first volume or two into Boom where I was reading, the way they were writing them, I could still hear all the voices of the actors and everything just because they wrote them so well
Yeah,
that it felt right.
shiny.
Yes.
Nice continuity.
Yeah, that's
cool.
great. I'm gonna look that up. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Look for comics. Yeah.
Any other movies or shows that interest you?
I went back and watched. There's a lot of properties. I went back and watched Witcher. Since they kind of did the prequel episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched that, and then I went back and watched the first series run they did, the first 2 seasons, and I should have watched the animated movie between those.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think about it until after I got through the second season of Witcher. It made a lot more sense. The first time I was watching it, they would say things, and I'm going, what does that mean? I've never played the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big gamer, so I don't have time for video games. I've played video games, but yeah, it made a lot more sense because you get to see in those first 4 episodes that they did, it's supposed to be like the first Witcher, they explain, you get an understanding of what terms mean what throughout the series that they'll say. Like, and I don't mean just slang terms, but the meaning of certain events that they're talking about or other past characters. Like you understand it better. Without that video game history, I was lost. I was looking at it going, ooh, pretty monsters.
Yeah, I never played the video game either. I really have enjoyed the series and the prequel thing that they did. Even the animated, like everything that they've put out so far, I've really enjoyed. I'm really looking forward to season 3, and then afraid for what we're going to get in season 4.
I think as long as they don't try to make the new guy Geralt, they'll be okay. But if they make him the new Geralt, then that's kind of, it's like trying to go back and make another Crow movie with a different actor playing Eric Draven. It's like, okay, no, his story is done. Like if you want to continue Geralt's story, do another animated movie.
Right.
Wrap him in what's her series story up, and lead into the Wild Hunt or whatever. But have the new guy, have him be another Witcher. Because we know there's more than one Witcher. There's not just
I don't know if
by the
they're
end of the
planning
game,
on him being Geralt or not. I don't know if they've said that, but if so, then I'm I don't know. I just know one of the contentious parts was that, Henry Cavill was really committed to the source material, and it sounds like the writers are not. Now, since I never played the game, I don't know anything of the source material to know if that's a good thing or bad. How
many jobs have you ever worked where you have an idea or the way something is supposed to be done, and the people above you don't agree with it until you're doing it this way?
Yeah.
I imagine that's probably what it's like being in Hollywood and you being a fan of something and you get the part and then you're like, okay, I know what the fans like because I'm a fan of it. This is what I want to see. This is what we need to do. And then the writers and producers and all the executives have their own ideas and agendas that they want to put into it, make their own stories using the characters that the fans all know and love. And I think that's one of the big mistakes the suits, that I call them, make whenever they get hold of a property. And then you hear this outcry from the fans because it's not what they wanted. And I'm sorry to say, but anything that they do with Masters of the Universe, any movie that they make, it is going to be lit on fire by any group of fans because nobody can agree on how it should be done.
Right. And that's, I agree with you as far as the suits comment, because it does feel like a lot of times when they're making these movies, they're doing it off of, test groups and algorithms and all
Who
this
are
kind
these
of stuff. And
people
that,
in these test
yeah,
groups?
yeah,
I'm like,
algorithms aren't making great movies. Like you need throw a fan in there, throw a fan of the property in there,
yes,
and have them in the room and go from there. That's
And a kid,
yeah,
a
that
yes,
couple of
too.
kids, because
yes,
kids were like, well, like kids see through holes and stuff. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
right.
Or
See, that's what they did with
why didn't they
when
just
they
do this?
redid the Masters of the Universe, they 2000X or whatever.
Mhm.
When they sculpted the toys, they had two or three different versions, and they had toys that looked similar to the ones that we grew up with, Curtis.
Mhm.
And with the different hairstyles and everything. The kids back then didn't like that because anime was a big hit, and they
Mhm.
had the one with the spiky hair kind of, and that's the ones the kids gravitated towards. It's not a bad look.
Mhm.
Styles change over time. Our parents had different hairstyles and dressed differently than we do. So it's a generational thing. And I get that. But not every classic property needs to be reinvigorated for a younger audience because the younger audience didn't grow up with that.
Right.
They're being introduced to it. So you could make something faithful to the source material for the children that grew up with it and still make the newer kids happy.
Yeah. Like, we as a Masters fan, I've never gotten a Masters movie that with like the technology that they have of today, that with the CGI and all the different things that they have of today. I've never gotten that for me. So if they did put out a Masters movie and they aimed it towards 8-year-old kids or 10-year-old kids, yeah, that would be frustrating for me because I'm the one that wants to see that. 8-year-old kid doesn't care about Masters of the Universe. They don't even know what Masters of the Universe is.
Yeah.
But it's
And then if they do that, they're always going to start with the origin story.
yeah.
Even if they did everything perfect, visually,
Mhm.
story wise, you're gonna have somebody somewhere going, "Let's add modern music into the mix because it's got technology in it." And then that's a whole other fire that people are gonna be lit for. It's just like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, I think, just having some fans in that room while you're doing the creative process would make a world of difference. But a lot of these big companies doesn't feel like they want to do that. So
No. And simple fact of the matter is you can't make everybody happy.
right.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be upset no matter what you do.
Mm. Well, and as somebody that is a Masters fan and has been part of that community for a while, I will say that even the folks that are the same age that grew up with the exact same stuff can't agree on what they like or dislike. So
Yeah.
it's just, I think you're right. You're never going to make everybody happy with that. So
No.
I don't know.
Well,
They've been talking about a live action Masters movie for the last, 10, 15 years. I don't know that we'll ever get it. We keep hearing like casting choices and stuff like that. And then a couple years will go by and that person's out and now they're bringing in somebody else and
right.
we'll see. Cool.
But do we want to bring in this other picture you sent me?
Yeah, let's do it. So this is a head that Teal Titan produced.
Mhm.
He's calling it the Were Rabbit. And
Nice.
I painted them in that Fury red color. And I will have a very limited quantity of those to sell. And I'm going to do it this Friday.
Oh,
We're
great.
still working out on a price. We got to find, because it's not just me doing them. It's a joint effort. It's very similar to the other pieces that I did through Teal Titan. The first one was that split head demon. I did for there was a paint match for Archimedes, and I did a couple white ones to go on the what's his name, Disabolus. Is that the big root
Yeah.
ogre? I did a couple for that one, and then the Cthulhu style head that had what's his Lovecraft's face peeking out from behind the because that was his portrait. I don't know if a lot of people understood that, but that was supposed to be his portrait. Like he is becoming his own his own fiction. So this is the next one that I'm doing through Teal Titan.
I
And
love the eye on that. It like you can see several different colors in there. Like it goes, black in the middle and then yellow, and then it looks like an orangish red ring before going black again, and then the nice gloss coat over it. That looks real nice.
So on that eye, is that white kind of right in here? Is that just a reflection, or is that painted in? That's a natural.
Nope,
That's
reflection.
awesome.
Yeah, I try to paint when I do the gloss over the eyes and everything. I don't like to put the little white dot. I will where it's appropriate. Like I did, like if there's a character that has these huge eyes, like the little Christmas Grogu I did for the Toys for Tots drive through Noble Bear. I did paint the little white dots on those. His eyes are just so massive anyway. But typically for the scale for Mythic Legions and stuff, I will not do it, just because the gloss over the eyes will give you that natural one. If you've got a light source somewhere, it will catch it. So it's a little more natural, in my opinion.
Cool. Very cool.
But yeah, that is on the body of the Red Krampus. Sorry, mine went blank for a second. Now, for those pictures, it is shown with my my custom feet on it. They will not be sold with the feet. It's just the heads.
Just
Sorry,
the heads.
people. I don't have any more. I've gone through all of them that I had. So if I had them, I'd sell them with the heads too. But it's just going to be the heads. Maybe I'll try to throw in like another little Easter surprise with it or something if I can find something. I don't know. I'll have to go hit up the hobby shops.
What's where will people be able to score those?
I'm going to list it in the Cabal. Just
In the
because
Cabal,
it's
okay.
more heavy foot traffic there.
Okay.
Typically, I try to do it because Fridays I'm at work on day shift. I try to do it sometime after lunch, so anywhere between 12 and 1 o'clock, unless there's some type of
So with a bag of jelly beans.
Maybe I can find some of those weird jelly beans Travis and them had. My wife was going to kill me. Here's your Easter surprise. But
Rusty
yeah,
metal.
if I'm busy at work or something, I won't be able to do it until I'm home, and that'll usually be later in the afternoon. But usually I'll make some type of like pre-post, and then I'll edit that post. So if you see a post of me saying I'm going to drop something, just kind of bookmark that post and come back to it.
All right. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's coming Friday.
So anything else to plug? We're right at about the 2-hour mark right now. Anything else you got coming up that we want to talk about?
Not me, but you do, Mr. MesquiCon.
I do. I do. Good
Coitus
reminder.
And the Big D will be at MesquiCon.
Yeah.
This weekend, right?
This upcoming Saturday. Yep, the 11th. Yep, it's $5 to get in. Kids are free. Kids under, I don't know the age exactly. Do you have
like 11 or 12 or something? I
think it might be 12.
12.
I did not add it to the slideshow. I forgot.
Yeah, I know kids are free, but I don't know what the age limit is there. But yeah, next Saturday.
And shop Wolf King.
There you go. Yep, we'll have the Wolf King table up. So Steven and I will be manning that. Steven will be selling painted heads. I will have the unpainted parts available. And then we'll be right next to the horseman. Jim and Cornboy will be there. Travis is going to be doing the sales for that table. And it is cash only for that table. So make sure that you're bringing cash, and should be a lot of fun. So
I don't have it to pull up, but I have it. I can see it. $5 admission, 12 and under is free, or excuse me, under 12 is free. 10 to 5, March 11th.
Gotcha. Then I see Destination Stone asking, will Wolf King Customs be at Toyland? I do not know that answer. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but I'm not positive. As of right now, it looks like we most likely will not be at PowerCon either. Now, Steven and my wife is going to kill me guys should be there, but I don't know that Wolf King will be there. That's not finalized yet. So yeah, that should be a great time. I'm going to drive up on Friday. I'm actually staying with Steven, so that should be fun. get to hang out and see the guys and do the show, and then come back here and and then I'll drive back, and next Sunday I'll be getting back just in time for Billy Beige,
Hey, I know that
Will
guy.
White. Yeah, should be a fun one. So we'll talk to him, make sure that he is still in the mindset of dragging you zombie kicking and screaming to Legions Con. So
we'll see. So how many can you see how many people are watching?
Right now it's at 16. I think we were mid-20s most of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's still a few people here.
Yep.
I want to do a giveaway.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
It's an on the spot thing.
Like a prize wheel?
Let's say the first person that can say how many years I've been customizing.
There you go.
Okay.
And this is what you'll get. I have a full set of the
skeleton
Necros Militis, including the pauldrons. Eric Borries, 35 dope. Close. 10, not even close.
Yeah, 10's a little short.
Nope, not 15.
Keep the guesses coming, folks.
We'll see who's paid attention in the show. And we'll do Price's Right rules. Whoever gets close by time to shut it down.
Eric's going up one at a time. Got 30.
Trevor with 30.
Trevor.
Trevor, you're real close, man.
Anybody else? You got 16 people in chat. Throw out a guess.
We'll
How
do another
customizing.
Another 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
Got 27, 31, 32.
Oh, who had 31 first?
Joseph H.
Joseph
That's who I've
H.
got on the screen.
Yep. Joseph.
31.
Oh, sorry.
All right, this is going to you. Just send me a message through Messenger. Eric Borries, Borries, and I'll get that out to you.
Cool. Thanks for the giveaway.
Yeah, thank you. That's always fun. Sorry, Eric, you were so close.
Yeah. Almost.
I mean, he only had about 15 guesses, but yeah, just missed. Let's see. And then Elder here saying, well, in any case, seem to be a well-seasoned customizer nonetheless. That is true.
Thank you.
I'll say between you and some of the other folks you were mentioning earlier, like I probably wouldn't be doing this show. I mean, I know I didn't really know you until more recently, but I don't think I would be here where I am without the groundwork you guys, like you and Jeremy and Nikki and all those folks that were in on it from the beginning. So, that's part of one of the reasons why we wanted to get you on here is just because you are so foundational in specifically this line, but just like in the creativity.
For a while.
So it's just really cool that, like we were saying earlier, the customizing and stuff's not necessarily a competition. We're all building,
yes.
And
it's a community.
Yeah, and it's just like adding the layers and stuff on that especially as big as this group keeps getting bigger and bigger, hopefully we don't lose that mentality. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can be reached all the time, and unless I'm asleep, of course, which is always sporadic. My schedule, I go from days to nights a lot. But yeah, anybody with any kind of questions or whatever, just hit me up on Messenger or hit me up on Instagram. It's zombie13.customs on Instagram, of course on Facebook. Don't be afraid to reach out. Like Curtis, I remember telling you, you were apprehensive about going to cons and stuff. I said, dude, if you want to go, just go.
Yeah.
So I remember having that conversation with you. But
I'm
Jesse, down to earth. I'm not like I'm not in
I'm one of the
I'm not,
original
I'm not like that.
customizers from the message board.
Yeah, I'll help anybody if I can. I mean, it just goes to like with what happened with Dustin Yoke, and his ordeal with cancer. I immediately started going through stuff like, okay, I got to raise money for them because it's real, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just blew up. I was consumed with messages and making sure this information was right and getting that post running and everything. And then when Justin Johnson passed away, I was like, okay, I've got ideas, but I don't have everything I need. So I started reaching out to people, and then people started messaging me. It's like, hey, I've got this. So it's wonderful what you're doing. Can I send this to you? I'm like, yeah. So that blew up exponentially. It was a lot of stuff. So
Well, and I know
I can help. I will.
Yeah. I know sometimes, we can get bogged down, especially in social media with, there's the, where's my shipping notice post, and they didn't make this figure the way that I think they should have made it post and stuff like that. But when somebody in this community needs help, everybody jumps together to help them out. When, somebody is showing off their art, there's a ton of people that are just showing appreciation for that person's work. And, that community has been built from the folks that were here from the start, and that includes you. So, to Jesse's point, we just, really wanted to have you on here and appreciate you, everything that you and the other folks that were there from the beginning have done to build this community, because you never know when one of us is going to go through something like that, and we need people to rally around us. So
I've had people help me out too. It works both ways, and it's always, I always appreciate it. If I'm looking for something and somebody's like, hey, I've got it, it's yours. I've done that plenty of times too. I'm like, yeah, just send me your address, man. I'll send this out to you.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah,
so
there's numerous times where somebody's like, hey, has anybody got this, chest piece for sale or this waist piece for sale? And it's like, yeah, shoot me your address. Well, what do you want for it? Just shoot me your address. Like, I don't, it's in my parts bin right now. Like, I'm not going to charge you for something that's just sitting in my parts bin. So
yeah.
Right.
I always say that if I'm not trying to sell it actively.
Yeah.
If someone's looking, like, I always like, they're like, what can I give you? I'm like, just your address. And they're like, oh, but no. I'm like, just pay it forward. Just when you get to the point where you have something you can share, just give it on to somebody else, like, just keep it going.
There you go. Exactly. And that's, when I got into this line, because somebody gave me my first figure. And so I've tried to do that same thing. Like, I've probably given 12 people their first figure for Mythic Legions. And some, that's the only figure they have in their collection. And some, it started them down a path. I guess they can thank me or blame me, whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
First one's free. The next one's going to cost you.
There you go. Yep. Like any good drug dealer, you give them the first taste for free. So, but yeah, it's an amazing community, and we appreciate you being on, and love the stuff that you're putting out right now with Wolf King. Can't wait to see what you put out for Cosmic, because I know it's going to be, pretty good stuff. So,
dare I say, out of this world?
Oh, I see what you did. That's nice.
Well, I mean, again, thank you for having me. I don't really get too many show invites. I was on Mythic Conversations a little over a year ago. The only other one I've done was when Trevor was still on Instagram doing his show, and it was just him. And it was around the time where Dustin was in the hospital with his ordeal with cancer. And it was just, it was like a short little window. I hopped on, explained, what was going on, and some new parts coming out that were going to benefit him. But yeah, it's fun. I always like coming on and talking to people. I have conversations longer than this through Messenger with people sometimes. And I'll go downstairs and my wife will go, "You were on the phone for 3 hours."
Yeah, I mean, Jesse and I have talked about this before, but like, we appreciate all the folks that jump in and chat and watch this and watch the replays and stuff. But even if nobody watched, like, we just like hanging out with cool people and just having conversations. So, yeah. We're starting to get some more guesses in. I think we've
Yeah.
already got the answer.
Right, yeah, we got the
Everybody's lagged. They won't
must
see
be a
this for
little bit
another 10
behind.
minutes. Sorry,
That happens.
it's over.
Yeah, sorry, Raphael.
But you can rest assured that even if you were on time, none of those answers are correct.
Not yet.
So
Yeah.
Well,
You're dancing around it.
yeah. Well, we definitely would love to have you back at some point. Maybe we get closer to Legions Con. If you've got some other stuff to reveal, just if there's something coming up you wanna promote, just let us know and we'll get you back on. But speaking of promoting, I am going to throw one more thing out here before we sign off. 5,000 years.
Well, they do call me Zombie.
there you go.
Just because I know this is getting there.
Yep.
There's a little bit of time left.
They just announced some new figures today too. Did you see
Yes,
that?
they did. Yeah, they're was it the Army Builder? Was it a
It's like
two-pack of
gargoyles
demons?
and demons. Yeah.
Yep, red demons and there we go.
There's
The
one of them.
grotesque
Yep.
and gargoyles and the red devils.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So you just add those on. But I think he's I don't know where the percentage is. Is it the top?
I think it was
here?
like 53 or something, maybe.
Uh,
Or no, it was 56,000. So
56 out of 80. So just a little over 20,000 to go. 17 days left.
Yep.
I finally got mine in today. But yeah. So for those of you who are interested, whether it's for the religious aspect or because of the historical aspect of the art that it's based on,
And
there's
the blanks.
and the blanks. Yeah, you
Mhm.
can add the blanks on for was it like $15?
Yes.
And you
Something
can
like
get
that.
it was like you can get up to 100 blanks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
just
really,
the fact that they have the art that they're based on right here in the
I really
in the
like
images.
those the little devils and the gargoyles. I feel like that could the gargoyles I think could fit in with Necronominus. You crouch them down, make them look a little, whatever. And then same thing with the little red demons, throw them with like Arethyr and stuff.
Yes,
Like,
get you display with them like all crawling around.
Yeah,
and
because they're
everything.
double jointed, so you could like make them really like crunch down into a small position and stuff. And
AW Designs, if you're watching this, you can get a couple of these grotesque and gargoyle 2-packs and put them in that torture
have
room.
a
There you
wraparound mural where they're all tangled together and crawling towards around him and stuff.
Make it look like where'd it go? Like this.
Yes.
Yep. So even if you're just strictly a mythic collector, I think some of these could fit in with you. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Cool.
All right.
Good stuff. And just reminder, next week, Billy Beige, Sunday. Zombie, you may want to watch that because if he has any kidnapping plans for you for later time, you may want to be aware of those. So
well, typically I work on Sundays, so I'm not able to catch the live. I do usually go back and rewatch it whenever I'm off the next night or whatever. But
there you go.
I may have to sneak off somewhere and watch it.
Yeah, if there's anything that we think is threatening towards you, we'll
send you the timestamp on it. Yeah.
We'll call the authorities
I took tonight off because it's my wife and I's anniversary. Thank you. We've been together since 1999, but we've been married for 18 years.
Wow.
So, and then it just kind of worked out. So this show was on Sunday night. And then earlier today, she asked me, "Did you just take today off because you're going to be on that show?" No, I put in for this like last month even. So it just worked out that way.
That's funny.
Well, really appreciate you giving us the time and hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to get to hear a lot of your story.
I had a blast.
And, we'll definitely have you back on sometime.
Yep. Cool.
I'm available.
Excellent.
We'll put you in the back room for a few minutes. We'll close out the show and then we'll pull you back in and just kind of finish out with you.
All right.
So hang tight.
All right. Thanks, Zombie.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to episode 9 of Shooting the Shelf. Curtis, anything else from you tonight?
Come out to MesquiCon. See you next Saturday, and then be back here Sunday to see Billy Beige.
All right.
So,
you got any customs that you're working on that you're going to be sharing anytime soon?
I don't think so. I've been getting
Okay.
prepped up for this MesquiCon. I know Len just sent me a whole bunch
that's
of
right.
parts. I bought some bins for the table and stuff, and I was getting a few gifts for the podcast guys. Don't tell them. Wink, wink. They won't hear this because they don't watch the show. But no, I haven't really been doing a lot of painting. I'll probably kick that up when I get back from MesquiCon. So
excellent.
What about you?
I sorted through all my parts and everything over this weekend and sorted things out. So I have almost 40 customs to work on. And if I can get them done in time for Legions Con, that would be awesome. But I also have a massive dio I have planned if I can figure out how to engineer it. So
that's a lot of work.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Is it one of these where you're going to be doing some work at your job in order to have the room for the dio?
Oh yeah, the dio, if I can do it the way I want to, it would physically fit in my apartment. It would be idiotic of me to try to bring it into my apartment.
Nice. All right.
So yeah, I'll have to pack up all my paints and take it to the workshop and do it all there.
Do we want to mention the other show that we have coming up here soon?
No.
We don't.
No, because I just, there is something new coming, a joint venture with a couple other fellas that you've seen us talking to before, but I'll wait and I'll let them do the official announcements on all of that. But yeah, stay tuned. If you like seeing Curtis and I talk about nerdy stuff or geeky stuff, stay tuned. There will be more of that in the future.
Yes.
But once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Man, I am horrible at saying goodbye. So the only thing that I can really ever be fast as this is when I'm dropping someone off at an airport and they cannot stand and talk. So hope you all have a great night, a great week, whatever it is, time of week when you watch the replay. Thank you so much for being here. And as always,
in Eternia, they don't say goodbye. They say good journey.
Good journey. Okay.
There you go.
Well,
maybe that's easier for you. I don't know. I was trying to help.
Best foot on ya. Don't get any on ya. After a while, crocodile, toodaloo, caribou. And my personal favorite, what's on your shelf? Oh, wait. I have an outro to play. Wait, where'd it go? There we go. Bye.